So we must do two things, two great things together to encompass that enormous new view that lies before us, but to encompass it within the framework of science, to see it within the whole categorical framework of science, and to see that these two are not separate, but that they are wedded. The bigness of the idea, the newness of the idea, the greatness of it is one with the structure of science, the structure of being itself.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to bring that in to show you that, to illustrate that there is an impact in the world. Everything that we know and are conscious of in the higher understanding of being that we have in the science of being, that which we know to be true at the level of science itself and divine science and absolute Christian science, is making its impact on the level of Christian science. And it doesn't just happen for that one individual who is conscious of the truth. You can't contain the truth about life for yourself. It belongs to the whole. And you see that the Christ always works with the individual. It works with the individual consciousness. But the individual consciousness that has been formed and reformed and transformed by the Christ becomes a world factor. We become a world factor for collective consciousness and for universal consciousness. When individual consciousness is changed, universal consciousness is changed. Yeah. So we come to the level of absolute Christian science and to a completely new question that we want to ask about life and life's ideas. And that is a question about life's individual relationship to each idea, not to its idea as a whole, which we have seen in divine science, but to each individual idea. So what is life in that relationship? The Word now is going to tell us something, to state something about what life is in that relationship. And we see that life is really the fatherhood, is fathering, we could say, each idea. Life is the father of each idea. And that term father, then we have to ask, well, what does that mean? It means that life is the inexhaustible source of every idea, each idea. I love that sense of being an inexhaustible source, of not just bringing it forth once, bringing forth that idea once, but inexhaustibly bringing it forth, impelling it forth. Life is the spontaneity at that point. It is the creative impulse here. So one harkens back really to that law of life, truth, and love, and we know that the value of life there is very much coincident with that tonality, that life, truth, and love is that law of creative impulsion, wherein life is the dominant. So life is impelling ideas forth. It is the impulsive source of every idea that comes forth, that is brought into being. Brought into being really meaning brought into conscious awareness as an individuality of life. And so the Christ says, yes, what life is doing here is that it is individualizing itself really as individual ideas. And then as Christianity, life, we see then, would be providing. You can see it in two ways, that life provides ideas. It is giving us ideas, but we can also see that every idea is provided for by life, maintained by life. So life sustains and preserves every idea. It multiplies ideas. It multiplies, I think we could see that every idea is given. Life gives every idea everything that life has, you see. And so life gives every idea the quality, the ability to multiply. You hear that's a little bit different than seeing, well, each idea is an instance of the multiplication of life. Yes, it is. But also, life gives that quality to each idea. So every idea has the ability to multiply itself. And then we come to science, and we see that life as science says that every idea is an instance of the progression of life. That term came up when we were speaking about the experience of going on, leaving one experience behind, so to say, and taking up a new experience of life. It has to do with the progression of life. It's an instance of progress, but progress and progression are different. When you have the progression of life or the progression of something, it is going on within, how can I explain it? I love it when it comes up, I think, in the fourth day of creation, and not so much in the fifth, but in the fourth, that principle would explain what a progression is, because all progression goes on within a system. Progression indicates a cycle. Interesting. You see, this will be the truth about the belief of reincarnation, is the progression of life. And you know that, for instance, in the universe, the celestial universe, that you have the progression of the equinoxes. It's an instance of the cycle, a cycle. It's an instance of something going on. It's cybernetic. It's something going on and coming around again. It's a feedback. It indicates a feedback process. A cycle, yes, yeah. So I think it's like every 25,000 years, the equinoxes come back to where they were, but there is progress, there is change within that which is fixed and the same. There is change going on. And every star in the celestial universe is fixed, and yet it is progressive. And I think that that's what life wants to show, that in the system of principle, everything is fixed. It has its fixed place value. And yet it moves. It's fixed and yet it moves. And everything moves, and it maintains a fixed relationship. Everything maintains a fixed relationship to everything else. And yet there is this progression going on. And the progression really never has a beginning place, and it never has an ending place. You have no beginning and no ending in a progression. I'll just take a quick look. I don't want to take too much time to do that. Let's see if it shows itself forth here. You know, we were talking about the rhythm of spirit. So the fourth day gives just really a beautiful illustration of all of those rhythms working together in a system. It's where the Bible says, and God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." Just a gorgeous sense of that fourth day, not as being the sun, the moon, and the stars, and they're laid out next to each other, but the whole import of the fourth day is to show that they are put into relationship with each other, and that everything has a fixed relationship to everything else, and that's a system. And yet the whole system moves. And when we think about it moving, it's perhaps in principle as life. There it is, yes. Periods of progress. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. It's the fifth and final tone of principle. Principle as life, really. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And she says, the changing glow and full effulgence of God's infinite ideas, images, mark the periods of progress. And then, of course, we are led right into the fifth day. I know that's not totally clear, but that sense of the progression of life has to do with the movement of the system. You see, that everything in the system is fixed and yet it moves. And that movement brings out a great progression of life, a great expression of the fact that principle demonstrates itself as life. And here we see that every idea illustrates that progression, and we would see that really our lives are illustrating our whole way of life, and I think we have to expand our sense of the way of life and not feel that, well, when I say the way of life, it means from the day I'm born until the day I die. That there's a way. Yes, there is. But that way is so much bigger, so much more. It goes on. It doesn't stop. The evolution of consciousness, the progression, life would call that evolution a progression of consciousness. And that goes on. It doesn't know anything about starting and stopping and beginning and ending, and that something could intervene and interrupt that and stop it too soon. We always say it's too soon. Or we feel it's going on too long. There are all these time claims that somebody doesn't live long enough or they live too long. They keep on living and living and living, and the quality of life goes out and out and out and out, and they keep living and living. See, all these claims, we have to lift our conscious understanding out of that to this tremendous framework that we are looking at, and see what life is and where life is coming from in the descent from science itself, right down to the human plane, where the claim of mortal life and death, they just are dissolving. They dissolve in the face of the reality of what we are seeing. In the face of the reality of life, there just isn't anything that actually has its own existence and existency and being that is called mortal life. Just life. Life, life, life. And that will help us to keep from getting caught up in all of these time issues and space issues and the temporal and the claim of mortality per se and of death. And gosh, we're just handling that D from the moment we come out from life as what itself is. That D is being impacted. D has no reality of its own. It's only a concept within the human consciousness that hasn't been resolved yet by the full understanding of what life is. what life is. So it's beautiful, isn't it? What we're talking about is really the impact that life is having on universal consciousness, as well as on the individual consciousness. So we see that life does break in. It's breaking in on us, we say, at every moment. We try to show the ongoingness of that, the ever going onness of that. When we say it's breaking in on us at every moment, all the time, it never stops. There's no break, no hiatus in that activity. We don't have to work for it. We don't have to make it come. Make life come and be life. Please, please, come and be life. But we can know, the system teaches us that life is life, and it's life at every plane of experience, every plane of consciousness. All we're ever really talking about is consciousness, and life is coming to every plane of consciousness.